Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Toad Reptile right here on YouTube. Hey guys, today we're doing an unboxing, not of a reptile, but rather an enclosure. Toad Ranch Enclosures has sent us a new enclosure for this room right here. I'm going to show you guys the unboxing of the enclosure as well as everything that it comes with and some good, bad kind of reviews. Also guys, I'm going to be showing you who's going in this enclosure and who's getting moved around in here because we're going to do some shuffling. Also guys, don't forget what we're going to be doing under the show segment. We're going to answer one of your questions right here on Third Coast Reptile. Okay guys, so right here is a Toad Ranch enclosure. You can tell by the big label right here on the box, right? This is a 4 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot enclosure sent to me from Toad Ranch Enclosures. Guys, I'm going to show you just how cool these enclosures are, how easy they are to build. We're going to do an unboxing, show you everything that it comes with the moment you open your box, and then we'll go over some options that you can order them with because you could choose some customized parts for these things. Toad Ranch has a lot of different things that are tailored for the reptile owner and not just, well, here you go, this is your typical glass enclosure. This is nothing like that. These are PVC enclosures. We'll go over all that here in a little bit, but let's go ahead and get this box open. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and get this box open. As you can see behind me, this is much lower than what it was. This is where the enclosure is going to go. It's actually going to sit on top of this enclosure. So let's go ahead, without further ado, and get this box open. Okay, so you got this extra piece in here. Yep, I'll get rid of that. And then we got styrofoam. All right, styrofoam. Okay guys, now each panel has this right here. I want to show you. They're labeled not only with what panel of the enclosure it is, but what direction it's supposed to face. So this is the bottom of the panel, and these vents right here are at the top. Now these vents are optional. You can get these made with 2, 1, or a flat panel with no vents on top. It's all your discretion, what you want. And you can see here, I want to show you, I don't know if you guys can pick this up. All the holes here are pre-drilled. So there's no guessing on how things are supposed to fit. You don't have to worry about breaking one of these panels when you're screwing them together. Everything's actually assembled and then disassembled prior to shipping to your house. So really high quality builds. Again, I love my enclosures that I have, like this 6 foot one here. This is my new 4 foot, you know, and I have my 12 foot and I have my 8 foot as well. So we're going to go ahead and continue unboxing, but I just wanted to show you that they really pay attention to detail here. So you have your back, customized vents. Let's show you some of the other features that you can get custom with your enclosures. Also has these little neat notches here, and these notches are important because if you need to run lights inside the enclosure and the top is sealed, these little notches come in handy, and I'll show you more about those later on when we get there. So let's get this panel out of the way, set it aside here. Okay, now let's see what we got next. And each one has this protective film, and that's nice. They really care about, you know, the image quality as well as the build quality of these enclosures. So as you can tell here, I love it because they're labeled. Again, this is the right panel as it's labeled, and this will be the front side, and that'll be the back side. We'll set this aside. Oh, and then this is the left one. So this is the left label here, pointing to the front. So this is the front of the enclosure. This is the back side of the enclosure, bottom and top orientation. So there's really no guessing on how this thing goes together. They make it very simple and simplistic for you. They also, on this side, this is the outer face, they actually have these holes countersunk. So they have this little flare piece here, and I'll zoom in on that so you can see that, where the screws will actually go in flush, and so you'll have a nice clean surface here. These are very high-end enclosures, guys. These aren't the ones you get your little pet store places. This is like perfect stuff if you want to get to that next level and have really nice quality aesthetic enclosures in your house. So you can, talk to the wife, talk to the family and say, hey, listen, I want to put an enclosure in the living room. Well, they're going to look really nice in the living room. They're not going to be an eyesore. And that allows you more options when you choose a reptile and maybe want to have them inside year-round. This makes that option and choice a little easier to make. Put this guy aside. And again, we got more protective sheeting. And then we have our bottom panel. Again, it has our direction here for the bottom, so we know what that is. And this is just, solid piece PVC, nice quality. I think this stuff is, I want to say about 1/2 inch thickness. That's nice. Now we're kind of getting into the nitty-gritty, the sort of mechanics of the enclosure, if you will. And they have all these protective cardboard inserts. Throw those aside. Another feature of Toad Ranch Enclosures that I do actually really like are these right here. I'm not going to unravel these right now because I want to make sure they stay protected. These are the glass doors of the enclosure, and I say that correctly. Real glass, nice, thick, heavy glass doors. And I'll show you how to install these, as well as how easy they are to maintenance and maintain. It's just a build quality thing for me. I really like how these are formed to your enclosure size. They're not cheap plexiglass. They're really nice, high quality stuff. So again, I'm going to leave all the protector stuff on this for now, and I'll show you these when it comes time. I'll set that over here. And I get some more of this protective stuff out now. And more of this stuff. More of this stuff. Alright, now you also get this package here. Let's see what's in this package. Labeled Toad Ranch on there. Okay, so you'll get these little sticky things here, and what these do is they actually cover up the screws on top of the enclosure so it looks nice and white. You don't see those little black screws on top like an eyesore like that. It really makes it look polished and finished, like a really high-end quality product. I'm telling you, Toad Ranch is just amazing with their stuff. What else do we have in here? This is your instructions on how to put it together. I'm kidding. Follow your instructions. Hold on. That's a guy thing, right? You got, I don't need no instructions. You do. Even though they're labeled, even though they're marked on which way they go, still follow the order of operation here. So you put this thing together the right way. Especially if it's a bigger enclosure that has more complex components that have to be put together in a sequential order. Follow your instructions, read these through, take the time to do it. You spent all this money on the enclosure, you waited all this time for the enclosure to get here. Spend a couple more minutes and read the instructions. What else comes in here? What do we got? Whoa. Stuff falls all over the place. Now, at first, when I got my first enclosures, I didn't know what these were for. Let me come closer to the camera here. If I can. I don't know if I can. Check these out, guys. You see what these are? These are little metal pegs. And I didn't understand what they were for at first. Boy, I'm getting fat. I didn't understand what these were for at first. But then, after looking at the enclosures, I understand now. These little pins are if you want to stack your enclosures like we're doing today. You put these pins on the top. They have pre-drilled holes on top. You put these pins in, you set the other enclosure on top, and it's secure. It's not going to slide all over the place. They think of everything, these guys. I love the way they put thought into practical use. So when you want to stack them, make sure you have those pins handy and install those. They also gave you this really cool Toad Ranch magnet. I have a couple on my fridge already. I really like the the value of these. They're really cool looking. And then you also get some cool stickers and stuff. And then these are actually for the glass. These are the handles that you have to apply to the glass handles to allow you to slide them back and forth. So we'll hang on to those as well. And then is that it for this bag? I think it is. And then it's pretty self-explanatory. This is all the screws, nuts, and bolts that require you to put this thing together for assembly. So we'll hang on to this as well. Next, we have the front of the enclosure. This is, I think this is what sets it apart from building, like going to the hardware store and trying to buy PVC enclosure material yourself. Actually ordering through Toad Ranch, the front of the enclosure is what makes the deal work. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is the front of the enclosure. This has this nice heathered white with gray kind of feathered into it. It has the window channels for that glass to slide on back and forth. And if you could see here on this side, it's actually channeled so that the top sits here, not on top here. So it makes the whole enclosure work, guys. This is something you can't replicate unless you're a really good carpenter and have the tools to do all this. You can't replicate this on your own. At least I can't. So Toad Ranch, this is what makes the bread and butter for them, is the front fascia of the enclosure. I'm going to set this aside. And then I believe the last piece in here is the top of the enclosure. And yeah, top of the enclosure, and then that's it, guys. So that's the unboxing. We're going to go ahead and rearrange some stuff here so we can actually assemble this thing right here in front of you. Alright guys, so what I had to do, I found out very quickly, was I had to set this thing up on its side. So now I am the back of the enclosure up here. This is the bottom as you're looking up at the enclosure, so the top would be back this way. And why I had to do that was we needed support to hold these sides on. So I'm going to go ahead and screw the sides on here. Now a trick that I learned real quickly, again, they pre-assemble these at the Toad Ranch factory. So when they cut everything, they pre-drill everything, they actually put it together first and then take it apart and ship it to ensure everything fits just right. So what I did was I put the screws in ahead of time, and I'm going to use my gun here. We're going to put this joint together to making sure that our back and our sides are flush. And these are pre-drilled already, so you just line your holes up and we'll get these started. And again, with your drills, don't ram them home. You just need to run them in real nice and smooth. We're going to get this guy out a little bit so we can make sure we line up our pre-drilled holes. And then we just run them in like that. And that is all you need to do. It doesn't need to be crazy. The screw actually sit flush inside the hole here, and just keep going down the line, making sure our panel stays straight, and that's all there is to it, guys. I mean, it's pretty easy to do these sort of projects like this, especially when you spend the extra money and go with a company that cares about their products and cares about how things are done and put together. So let's go ahead and get the rest of these done real quick. Making sure our panels are nice and straight. nice and easy. And this last one I'm going to have to do from underneath. Well, I'm going to come around. I can't. Got one like that. You get proper fitment. And then just like that. That's all you need to do, guys. So the next thing we're going to do, according to our instructions, is we are going to put the back panel on here. This is the one that has the vents on it. So let's go ahead and grab that panel. And this will add a little bit of structure to our enclosure here. And always follow your arrows, and remember, when you're doing these, you want to make sure that your beveled edges or your tapered holes are out. So actually, this doesn't sit on top of these, it sits on the inside of these. So we're going to readjust, and I'll show you how we're going to have it all set up here in just a minute. Guys, now we're going to put this back panel on. Remember, it has that little signage here to tell you which way this thing's got to be on the bottom, with the little arrows. You guys can see that. We're gonna slide this in. Just like this. Nice snug fit. Like this, and then we'll just grab our screws and screw this into place. We have a couple, and again, what I like to do is just find your pre-drilled hole here, hand start them in a little bit, and locks it in that way. They're pre-drilled, they'll line up. It's a simple, easy process. A lot easier than trying to build one yourself, custom. Trust me, I know I've done a lot of custom enclosures, and having something like this is a no-brainer. The other thing about these enclosures is they're realistic with their sizes. A lot of the pre-built box store stuff that you find is just simply too small for the longevity of your tortoise or lizard or snake or whatever. Well, this gives you that custom ability to have something as small as this 4-footer here, or as big as my 12-foot one right over there. We'll go ahead and put these screws in. I can do it. I can do it. There. Now you'll notice if you do these too tight, this spot right here will actually bulge out a little bit. You know that you've put too much torque on that screw. You don't want to do that. I grab some more. I wish it was a little taller. Alright. And we'll just keep going here, guys. Next screw. Make sure we line everything up. Nice and flush right here. And then we'll run the screw in. That's it. Next screw. Line it up. One more here. Nice and smooth. Cool, and like I said, you see all these little screws on the outside? They have those little white covers that'll cover these up so it'll look nice and polished in a finished product when you're done. I'm going to go ahead and finish the other side here, and then we'll do the bottom. Okay guys, we have our back, we have our bottom, we have our sides, and we have our back panel now. Let's see what's next on our list here. On page 2, detailed instructions, guys. Okay, so the next one we're going to do is actually the top one. And then we'll do the front one. Okay guys, we're at a point now where we're ready to put the top on this thing, or the face where the glass goes. Now this will sit inside this enclosure here. And I'll show you what I mean. This front piece is actually beveled right here. So the walls, the top, bottom, and walls will actually sit here. This part right here is actually going to hang over. So it screws in from the side, not the top. And again, when you order your Toad Ranch enclosure, you have the option of choosing how deep you want the substrate to be by choosing this width right here. You can get it in 2 to 3 to 6 inch increments. And I bought the 6 inch increment because I want my tortoises to have a nice deep substrate that they can have options with. So I know that this side here is actually the bottom. Again, really cool that they give you those options. They're forward thinking about reptiles as opposed to just profit and making one size fit all. They actually customize and tailor it for your reptile. So we're going to go ahead and put this on top, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Take this piece, and we're just going to set it gently on top, and then watch your fingers, and she should slide right in. Make sure she fits snug, just like that. And it sits nice and flush like this, and all we have to do now is run screws in on the top sides, and then it's time to put the glass in. Pretty easy, right? I mean, if I can do it, you guys can do it. So, yeah, you guys watch me put enough screws in today. When I come back, screws will be in. But let's do an under the show segment where I answer one of your questions right here on Third Coast Reptile. Got questions? Get your answer right here on Under the Shell. Alright guys, for today's Under the Shell segment, we don't have a question, so I'm going to cover a topic that's very relative to our enclosure build video that we just did, and that is glass enclosures, and maybe for people that are just getting into the hobby, are wondering why can't you use glass enclosures, and it's not what you think, because the big constituous opinion when it comes to glass enclosures is that, well, they don't understand the transparency of the walls and that they're going to continually try to bang their way through this force field that is glass in the enclosure. Well, in my opinion, that's very easy to fix. You can just, put silicone up with some decor, or maybe cork bark, or some sort of sight barrier that would prevent them from seeing that transparent force field. But the big issue and the big thing that I see with glass enclosures is, there's a couple of things. Number one, they don't hold, they're not very good insulators. So at night, the moment that basking light turns off, those temperatures will drop drastically to the ambient temperature of your home, which may not be a big deal, but if you're trying to save money in that kind of spring, fallish time, and your house gets down to 55, 60 degrees, that can be a real danger to your tortoise, especially if it's a new hatchling. The other thing you might want to consider is the sheer footprint of glass enclosures. They're too small, regardless of what color. Like 40-gallon breeder enclosures seem to be the turnkey glass enclosure size that people try to put tortoises in. I've been guilty of it before when I first started out, and I'm sure a lot of my folks here on the channel have been, guilty of it as well. But the bottom line is, for the price that you pay for a 40-gallon breeder or even a larger glass enclosure, you can get yourself a tortoise table on Amazon for cheaper, and it's just a better suited enclosure for your hatchling, even up into their juvenile stages for most medium to small sized tortoises. And I'm really disappointed that box stores like Petco, PetSmart, they don't carry tortoise tables in their stores. You have to order them online, and they're promoting these glass kits. So that's really why, in my knowledge of why glass enclosures just aren't a very good suitable enclosure option for your tortoises. Okay guys, so if you want your question answered, you can do so in one of three ways. Number one, you can ask your question in the comment section of this here video. Number two, you can go to the Third Coast Reptile YouTube page and ask your question in the community section there, or simply go to the Third Coast Reptile Facebook page and ask your question there. Alright guys, let's get back to the video. Alright guys, next up it's time to put the glass in the enclosure. I have it all set up. I put it right on top of my radiated tortoise enclosure here underneath my television. And I'm going to do some moving around here, but I'll be showing you guys that in the next video. For now, I want to show you the glass. So you guys can see that is really thick glass. It's not cheap stuff. In order to put it in your enclosure, it's really simple. So if you look at your enclosure, this top part here, this black part, is thicker than the bottom part, and that's for a reason. And you have two channels here. So the reason why the top part's thicker is because of how you install it. You simply take your glass, stick it in that channel, up, and then slide it down, and then it's in, just like that. And it slides. And then the one behind it, you're going to stick in the second channel. So it's easy to put in, beautiful stuff. And then on top of that, so let's take this out, turn it around. I think I had it the wrong way. Yep. Okay. So we're going to put this in the second channel. Just like this. Set it in there. Okay. And that one we're going to put on this side. And then we're going to take our other piece. Right? And then we're going to flip this around like this. Hi, Sonny. And we're going to put it in the first channel right in front. And it slides in. And then it sits in the channel like that. Alright, so now you have your glass in. Everything looks nice and polished. It's clean. But wait, there's one more thing we have to do. And that is to install those glass handles. Now, this is one thing that I really don't care for when it comes to Toad Ranch enclosures, is you're stuck to using these little thin stick-on pieces to open and close your doors like this. I would much rather have like sort of a bigger handle because I have bigger hands, but it's just me. That's the only flaw that I think I've seen so far with these enclosures. So we're simply going to remove. You going to help me? It's not food, I promise. It's not food. So you simply remove the backing like this, and then you're going to apply it, like that. Press it on really well. And then that's it. It's on there. You have a nice handle to open your glass doors like this. And then from here on out, guys, it's up to you to decorate this thing. Another thing Toad Ranch does, and I want to talk about this because I haven't talked about it yet, is inside the enclosure here, they actually have a wall option or a shelf option if you have an arboreal species that you're planning on putting in one of these enclosures. And that's an extra fee that you can pay for, an extra option. You can see the vents I have in there. That's another option. You can also get vents on top. I chose to go with a solid top on this one just because I want to be able to put some decor on here for the aesthetics of the living room itself. But anyway, guys, I just want to show you how it's done here with the Toad Ranch enclosures, setting them up. I think they look really beautiful, and you guys saw it here in the video. It's really easy to put these together. And again, in the next video, what we're going to do is we're actually going to show you who's going in this enclosure and then who's getting moved around in the reptile room here because of the new Toad Ranch enclosure that I got. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll put a link here in the video for Toad Ranch if you guys want to take a look at their website. I'm certainly not sponsored by them, but I was fortunate enough to get one of these enclosures from them. So anyway, big shout out to Toad Ranch for sending me this enclosure, and I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Bye now.